Hello, Sriram sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, we will start that.
Sure, sir. Sure, we can start.
Okay. Uh, Very good evening to all. Now we can start that RoboRAM industry visit in virtual mode. So the main services are it's in robotics, integrated automation, industrial IoT solutions, and microcontroller embedded systems, and they are providing training also. Okay, and then if they are doing the project development of automation, and they can give that, and the industry give that your training programs also. Okay, so the main scope is an industry is and the RoboRAM industry is an automation scope. Okay, so they are doing that industrial automation technologies. Okay, so in the connection of robotics and IoT and integrated automation, CAM or CAD or software automation. Okay, so basically they are doing the automation process. Okay, so now I can the session hand over to uh, Mr. Sriram. It's an industry person of RoboRAM industry. Okay, sir, we will start that, sir.
Yes, sir. We can start, sir. We can
Yeah.
start. Sure. So thank you, sir, for your warm welcome, and it's a pleasure for us to share our knowledge and for your invitation for the small industrial visit. And due to COVID only, we have the same structure like a work from home concepts. We have components, lot of components, microcontrol components. We are going to be showcase to you, like different sensors and like a robotic arm, a prototype. That's actually is our product. Now we are in the uh, R&D phase. So within 3 to 6 months, we have our own product. And till now, we are providing different sort of industrial services, as Mr. Padmanabhan sir mentioned. So I just give a short introduction in more deeper about our company profile and what services are we provide to the industries, and also our educational wing. That is RoboRAM Education is our other wing, doing professional trainings to students, faculties, and also to the industrial persons. So good evening all. Welcome to this industrial visit session on this pandemic evening. So my name is Sriram Nagarajan. I am the, so hope you're able to see my face also. Okay. So I am Sriram Nagarajan. I am the CEO of company RoboRAM. Um, we are an industrial automation and robotics based company, started 4 years back, and we have a lot of technical expertise engineers and a team of members from design to electrical, from service to management. And our main services are mainly we focused on integrated automation, IoT solution, and recently we move on the RPA technology. Especially due to the pandemic, we are not able to go to the industries and providing such sort of customized solution to the respective industrial persons and the manufacturers. So for the last 2 years or 1.5 years, we are working on the software robotics, that is known as the RPA. So till now we completed 13 projects on RPA. So I just share my screen. Okay, hope you able to see my screen, I think. Yes. Okay. So this is our website. So you can just go through whenever you have a free time means. It's www.roboram.in is our website. It contains the complete details of our services. So as I mentioned that we are an okay. So we are on industrial automation and robotics based company. providing different types of services. Our main services are integrated automation, like you heard about the PLC controllers, the HMI devices, SCADA devices. So we are providing the programming support, testing support, field installation of control panels, project planning of different applications. So I will show some of the projects to our customers, delivered to our customers in industrial automation. And the next thing, the important technology and technological services we provide after the pandemic, and is about the RPA services. So it's a complete software side, the software simulation, and is a bot, is a robot, is like a software bot. Using this bot, we can able to replace our desktop, all our desktop jobs within a short period of time. So especially these type of services, like these type of technology is actually the one of the like having the tremendous growth in the recent times due to this pandemic, because all of them are working in a home based. So we want to manage our time properly in order to avoid the routine task. By spending more time in the repetitive and same task, it feels like it feels less job satisfaction to the employees. And also now the industries and the firms are not looking for a person to do the same job and again, and they are not thinking about to invest some money for like invest some part of the money and resources for these type of jobs. So the RPA is actually one of the trending technology, and it also comes under the robotics. And the only thing, it's not a hardware part, it's a completely software using basic C++ and Visual Basics .NET programming. So that is also we provide services. And apart from this, we provide a low-cost automation. That's our USP, is about low-cost automation solutions. So these are some of the services explained in detail. PLC automation, from programming, project planning, control plan designing, IoT solution. We provide a lot of communication protocols between controllers and IoT modules, like long distance communication, serial parallel communication, UART, SPI communications, different industrial communication also, like from Modbus, Profibus, so TCP/IP. These are the communication protocol. Also, we working on that. And in the IoT solution, especially, we provide a low-cost automation without replacing the existing machineries. We provide some modules which is used for optimizing the entire process without leaving any other systems in the industries. So that's actually the focus for the small scale and like MSME companies, especially in Chennai, Ambattur and MM Nagar, Sipcot areas. And also we have a lot of customers in Coimbatore, because we are the native, and we are from the PhD alumni. So have a lot of customers from Coimbatore based also. And our head office is actually located on Nagarkoil. And you heard about the district Kanyakumari. Zendali is actually named for the tourist places. Here there is no like heavy industries. Is a complete ecosystem for tourist spots, and there's not very much regarding to any sort of industries and employment opportunities, especially the engineering opportunities. So we are the first generation entrepreneurs looking to develop our region through different startup supports we provide to our colleagues and our circles, how to promote the engineering activities. And government also putting a lot of effort in the developing of MSME companies. And our district is mainly like IT parks. We have a lot of IT based companies, like from BPO services. We have insurance based companies, a lot for for the Singapore and Malaysian customers, a lot of companies like that. But so we are the first companies, especially in the hardware field. And being a robotics is actually the unique for us, because I am pursuing my B robotics and automation degree. I am pursued my degree from PhD Tech. So my teammates are actually is entirely a different field, but we just form a group. It's a mixture of an electrical engineer, electronics engineer, embedded systems management, a lot of design engineers we have. So if you scroll down, you just see that. So these are the leaders, and these are the head of our individual department, and they are working. Some of they are working in a MNC based companies and also working for us. Like we have another platform because we have around 17 employees in our industry till now after 4 years of building, and some of the employees they are already working in an Ashok Leyland and Benz, Mercedes Benz, Daimler, and they are also working for Roboram also. So we have to they are acting as a partners because we need to develop our own industrial experience. That's why we provide a separate services like a private services to industries through our professionals, individual professional having their own targets and requirements. So that's why we doesn't want to like make us a full-time employee for some of the people in our group. And so we have around 11 employees is working as a full-time, and 6 they are working in a not as a part-time. They're working for their companies, expecting companies for 6 to 8 hours. They're working for Roboram around 6 to 8 hours. So they split like that. And this COVID only, like we after during this COVID only, like we split like this because we need more exposure. We need to research a lot. So that's only happened like that's only possible by entering into the industry only. So these are the my teammates and my team. So that is about my my company and our introduction. So let's move on to the some of the real-time exposures. So what are the different sensors? So I just have some of the sensor modules and a few sensor modules and the motors. So I will explain in detail. So after this is not a complete industrial visit. I just openly want to say is having a tight schedule on this pandemic. We just assemble a few components for you to know what is that because we are mainly working on the microcontrollers. It's like a nanometer and like it's a less than a centimeter, like around a 10 centimeter industrial standard means it's less than the size of 100 mm, like that. So I just showcase all the things. So just wait for a few minutes. I will turn on my camera. Okay. So just a minute. So these are the modules. Hope you able to see my screen. So, I think be able to share my screen. Okay, sure. So kindly pin to my profile. So I just opened my video. So I have some problems in my Okay. Okay. So now you're able to see my video. Okay. So these are the some devices I'm going to explain to you. Just chat. So every automation. So without a few components, we cannot able to without a few important components. Yes, without a few important components, we cannot able to achieve a automation structure. So you heard about the basic components of an automation, like for a robotics, we need a manipulator, which is consists of a base, links and joints like a human structure. So if you are seeing this robot arm, so you can just see this. I'm just showcase to you. So this is actually one of the robot arm. Is actually is our prototype for the industrial purpose for material handling applications. So now we successfully completed our prototype. Now we are waiting for the fabrication, like a machine fabrication using SS, and also we are planning to launch on a 3D, completely 3D printer, like a 3D material, like a PLN ABS forms. So let's into the robotic structure. Robotics is a one form of automation, industrial automation. So industrial automation have different types of technologies and streams. So robotics is one. IoT is another application where we can control and monitor the device from any part of the world, like using a simple communications and developing a mobile app. So two way we can achieve the solution. And robotics is completely about we are focusing on the industrial robots, and also our another product is we are focusing on a mobile robot. It's a completely humanoid robot, autonomous vehicle for agriculture process. So we working almost for more than 3 years. If you see our company logo, that's a motive. Is we want to develop our own product on agriculture, like a mobile robots to do the different process, which is very difficult for humans and for avoiding the time consuming projects. And for our industrial contribution, we just make this prototype for is like a 4-axis. If you see in very closely, this is actually the 4-axis robot arm. It's used for the material handling application, like a pick and place operation. And we estimated the payload is around 5 kg to 10 kg as of now. And so if you want to develop your knowledge in automation, you need a basic structure. You need to know and form a basic structure which contains your actuators. And when coming back to this robot, the manipulators are the important parts. So what is the manipulator is exactly about? So manipulator is actually the different joints and links connected, like it's connected to form skeleton of a robot. It's in case of machineries, we just having a rectangular size or a particular design, which is a stationary one. But when you come back to the like when you compare to the robotics field, we want to make us a skeleton, and in case of industrial robots, is entirely like a arm-like structure, like our human arm. So our human arm consists, you know about that the human arm consists of bones and joints. The same thing is implemented in robotics also. It consists of joints and links, and each joint is actuated by a like generally we defined as actuators. And the most common examples of actuators are the motors. And motors, and especially in robotics, we use a servo and stepper motors. And normally, if you want to work on with the motors, means a normal induction motor is available. This is a common a DC 100 RPM motor. You just like this is actually a 12 volt motor. So we cannot able to showcase the industrial motors right now. So this is a common 12 volt DC motor, 100 RPM. And we cannot use this DC motor for the robotics application, because robotics is actually a bit more intelligent device than the industrial automation machineries. And apart from this, so why I said why I define DC motors are not usable in robotics field means, so we want to control our joints. For example, if this robot want to take an object from this table and pick on another place of the table, so we want to control each joint like a human bones and joints. We want to control the actuation. So the actuation is already happened by the motors. So directly we want to control the speed and the angle of position. We want to control the angle of position and the speed of the motor. So we normally the DC motor we cannot able to control the position because the DC motor is an open loop system. If you give a 12 volt supply, a 24 volt supply, or a single phase or three phase, it will run at a maximum speed. If you use a drive system, we can control the speed, but we cannot achieve I want to position my shaft. So you see that this is a motor, it having the shaft, all the motors having the shaft. This is the point where the load is came into contact. So we cannot achieve this shaft at a right position. For example, I want to position this shaft at a 180 degree means I want to control. I cannot be able to do on a DC motor because it's entirely open loop system. We can control the speed by using a drive system. So this is the L29 through 3D drive systems, which is normally used for DC motor applications. It contains like a microcontroller, so we can easily control the speed, and also the main purpose of drive systems to drive the current. The name itself defines that. So drive the current means in case if any voltage surge or anything leakage current is actually flow into your circuit means is directly defects your like end devices. Like end devices is which devices you are going to connect at the which devices are doing the applications. So motors are the special is the devices which do the activations and motions. So we cannot connect directly the DC motors on any devices directly to the power supply. So we need a safety devices also. That's what this drive system is actually really helpful for the industries. So any industries without drive system, we cannot control a motor. So for the safety purposes, to provide a constant current like a stabilizer for your TV. So in case of any lightning or thunder happens, there is a sudden surge in your current. The rise in current happens. It may lead to the damage of your television and other devices if you not give the safety devices means. And that is actually this drive is given to drive the current properly, and also for the control of speed. But we cannot make the shaft at a right position. We cannot make this like I want to stop my shaft at the if I think to stop my motor at 180 degree or 270 degree or even at 1 degree means I cannot able to achieve on a normal DC motor. This is an open loop system. So that's what robotics systems and industrial robots and all humanoid robots avoids these kind of open loop systems. Mainly the actuators used here are servo and stepper motor. So this is the NEMA 17 stepper motor. This is actually a closed loop system, and two closed loop systems currently available in the world is around the world stepper motors and servo motors. So these are the two motors we can use in industries for robotics technologies. So why stepper and servo motors? This is a normal 15 kg centimeter torque stepper motor used for drone applications. So we have a lot of projects. We done a lot of projects in drones for inspection and inspection of different gas systems, hazardous gas, toxic gases, mining projects. So this is the motor we are used till now for the drone application. It's a high torque motor. If you see that it is a very small, but when you think about the price is around from 1,500 to even 10,000, depends upon the reliability factor and also the torque factor. So why we need a servo motors or stepper motors for robotics means servo and stepper motors are the closed loop systems. In servo, it's actually is a device which contains a DC motor plus a position sensor. Normally we use an encoder, or in low cost servo motor, they use like the manufacturer implemented the potentiometer for finding the position of the shaft. So the feedback device is the additional device which makes the servo motor as a closed loop system. So at any point of time, we have the option to know the position of shaft. Like that's actually sent by these feedback sensors, the encoders and the potentiometers, and even Hall effect sensor they are using. Because Hall effect sensor, I have my Hall effect module also is very slow. You can see that is actually is a very low reliability. It's usually used for 24-volt DC motor, and Hall effect sensor is based on the principle when there is a magnetic field, the sensor will give a respective voltage. So you well about like you are from a mechanical engineer. I think you well aware about the working of a motor. So inside the stator part, there is a magnetic flux will be created upon your powering, like the permanent magnets or the electromagnets. So magnetic flux will create that magnetic flux. It's actually form a rotational force which rotate your shaft. That's actually is a simple working of your motor. So by identifying the magnetic flux, we can able to find the position of shaft also. So this Hall effect sensor also used for the feedback devices in servo motors. And these feedback devices send the current position of the shaft to the controllers regularly. So if you want to make the motor to be stop at 180 degree or 150 degree, the feedback devices send a signal, and in the servo drives we have a controller and a comparator. The comparator compares your value and the feedback device value. If it is comes close to the 150 means it will be stop the motor. That's actually is the important devices, because in robotics I cannot able to add the DC motor, because when I connect instead of this servo motor by this DC motor means if I turn on, the arm will rotate continuously at a maximum speed. We can just control the speed, but we cannot position the joint at a particular angle. That's what the servo motor and stepper motor is used. And stepper motor, it doesn't contain any feedback devices depending upon the input pulses that is mentioned as a ppm. So it will be create a step angle. So number of steps, that's the important parameters of stepper motors. So it's having a big concept. I just showcase this is a stepper motor I already showcased to you. So depends upon the number of pulses you given, this stepper motor shaft will be moved. It's each stepper motor having a definite number of steps. It will be move on a steps like a 1.8 degree or 1.8 degree or 0.9 degree, like that. It's a half step and full step principle. So this is a stepper motor. And apart from the actuators of the robotic systems, we need sensors to collect all the information from the environment, because sensors are the device act as a bridge between the environment and the controller, because controller is entirely is working on a digital signals. It knows only the zeros and one language, and our environment is entirely analog signals. What we hear, what we feel, like a sunlight or rain, it's entirely depend upon the time. So even we cannot predict what happens on next second. So that is the entire analog signal. It's varying, depends upon the time to time. It will be vary. It's having a large number of values, huge number of like a wide range of values it has. And digital, when compared to digital signals having only two values. Either it will be give a 0 or 1, that is a low or high signal. So we need a specific type of devices which will be act as a bridge between the controller and the environment, which will convert, which have the option to convert, and which have the function to convert the analog signals into the digital signals, which is the input of your controller. Like our human ears, we just listen all the things from the people around you. and we see what happens through our eyes, like a frame by frame. That is also the one sensor, and we feel like if anything, a sunlight or even a humidity change, we can able to feel the situations like through our tactile sense. So that's device is very essential for even for the robotic system. So we have a lot of sensors in our hand. Like as I said that we have one project for a mining application detecting the toxic gases like methane. The methane is not a toxic gas. It's actually is a fuel gas, but it's having some safety concerns also. So if you open the methane gas in the air, it's become dangerous to the people and the persons around it. And this is a sensor is used for detecting different levels of methane level, like in a ppm. Uh, like a methane, butane. So this is the MQ family. MQ having a lot of families to detect different types of gases, like not alone methane, sulfur dioxides, carbon dioxide, and even a smoke level. So so this is the sensor we use for this drone projects, and this is actually is collecting the ppm level and convert into analog and digital signals and send the signal to the user. And this is we connect this is sensor we connect in our drone. And when you build a drone application, or also the even in the robotics application, maintaining the center of balance is very important, because if you want to calculate the payload accordingly to the self weight of your robot. So we need to find the position and the current position and the angular velocity of the robot at regular periods. So that's we have a another sensor is known as, you heard about that this is a gyroscope module. So gyroscope is actually used for to find the position, like angular velocity of an object. If you connect to any objects to this gyroscope, means it will be tell the object position in your 3D space, like x and x, y, and z axis. It will give all the values in a 3D space, and especially in a drone, we have to find out the position of your drone in the space. So this is also the important sensor in robotics application. And apart from that, we have another types of sensor. And in come to the industrial automation purposes, the main thing about the industrial automation sensors is about the thermocouples. Thermocouples are the devices which is used for to find the surface temperature of any fluid or any objects. So thermocouple is actually is working on a principle of Seebeck effect. You heard about the Seebeck effect in a later in a 12th standard physics book. You heard about that Seebeck effect. This is a thermocouple. You can just see that this is a wire, and this wire contains two different materials joined at one end, and it's joined at the other end of the module. So this is the other end, and this is the analog to digital converter module. And this sensor is used for to find the surface temperature of any liquid. Especially this sensor is used for the lubrication process. And without the hydraulic pump, we like industries cannot do the heavy process. So if you see that from the four-wheeler maintenance services, they use the hydraulic devices, hydraulic lifts to lift the vehicle four-wheelers to up and down motion. And they use a specific type of fluids. Normally the fluid is a water, but in industries for a high efficiency and flexibility, they use the oil, grease, and the servo oils, especially the servo oils for the as like a hydraulic fluid in the system. And in pumps also we use these kind of liquids. If you take your two-wheeler, we use the engine oil for to avoid the friction. The same things actually is used in the industries, industrial motors and pumps. So, and at a definite period, at a particular time, the oil may lose its viscosity ratio. It's turned into like a lose its structure due to the temperature, because a continuous friction form its viscosity, like loss its viscosity, and it changes its color and other properties also. So if you maintain that level, means your entire system goes to brake state, like your two-wheelers. Like if you not change your engine oil for like for a certain kilometers, your bike will seize on time. The same thing, we need to change the oil level, and for that we have to maintain the temperature at a particular level, because the temperature is the basic parameter where the oil changes its viscosity level. So if you use your pump at like for a 24 into 7, like it's operating at 80 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Celsius, means the oil also heat, that it makes a friction between the rigid objects and also the moving objects. It forms a friction. Due to the friction, it forms a loss of like heat energy will be increased. So due to the heat transfer, the oil slowly lost its property and changes its color at a one time. So we need to monitor the temperature regularly in order to avoid a huge damage. And also not alone the heat factor, and also the dust factor also is a very important thing. Hydraulic system, one of the main problem is the cleanness of your pistons and cylinders. And I just showcase, just wait a minute, I just show the cylinders. Yes. So this is the hydraulics pneumatic. This is actually is the hydraulic cylinder. This is a 1 bar cylinder. You can see that. So this is an input port. This is a double rod, double acting cylinder. So here we give a servo oil inside or a liquid, like at a high pressure we give. So due to this pressure liquid
Yeah,
at the one
Sriram,
port. Yes, sir.
sir, can you pin that video?
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute, sir. Okay. Now can you able to see my screen, sir?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir. Visible.
Okay, sir. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Sir.
So this is the hydraulic cylinder. What I mentioned is the double acting hydraulic cylinder. You've seen about that, and this is operating pressure is around a 0.5 bar, and it's a stroke length of 50 mm. And you can see that there is a two port, is an input port and there's output port. Normally we define this extension port and then a retraction port. So if you give it a pressurized liquid in that port, means this pressurized liquid will force the piston, because the hydraulic cylinder having basic components of piston. This is a movable piston. So it's difficult to pull it because it's having a internal lock actually. And so when you give the pressurized fluid, or even this cylinder can work on a pneumatic source also. It's combined with the two types of source. So if you give you a pressurized fluid, it will move the piston to a forward position, that is the extension of the port. And this is actually the retraction, and even some cylinders having a single acting. And in industries, most probably this is a cylinder we used for the pick and place operation, to carry the load of around 2 kg to 5 kg. This is going to be the end effector of my. So you can see that it's having a gripper into this is actually 2-finger gripper. So end effectors having two different types of materials we use. One is the gripper, another one is the tool. So this cylinder rod is a tool, and the mechanical fingers, like this type of grippers, like a 2 fingers or 3 fingers, that is actually used for pick and place operation. And other types of tools like welding torch, spraying gun, even the vision camera systems are used for the inspection process. So that is about the actuators and the sensors. So apart from these, a few sensors are used for the automation concepts, industrial automation. So this sensor is used for the low cost surveillance process, the ultrasonic sensor. So instead of using like the basic IR signal, it is using a ultrasonic sound signal to measure the distance between the objects like obstacles. And this sensor is very effective. It detects the range up to 400 centimeter. It's having accuracy of 0.001 repeatability factor, and its ranges is around a 30 degree of wide of motion. It can detect a 30 degree. This is the transmitter, this is the receiver, where this transmitter send and transmit the ultrasonic sound signals. And this is actually the basic working of the bats. You heard about the bat, how the bats travel at the night. So it have the eyes, but it travels through these ultrasonic sounds. So it's transmitted sound waves, and the sound waves uh, get reflected by the objects. So it depends upon the time of speed, time and the speed. It identify how far the objects and the obstacle is in front of it. So the same principle is used in the ultrasonic sensor. So this is the transmitter part, this is the receiver part. So it depends upon the time of travel to identify the distance. So using a simple formula. And coming back to the thermocouple, what I leave at the last so thermocouple is used for measuring the surface temperature. So just a minute, I just take the thermocouple part. Okay, thermocouple is used for measuring the surface temperature, because as I said that the cylinder, always there is a possible of extension and motion, extension and retraction motion. So if you see that these are the mechanical elements, so always there a friction will form. So this will be reduce the life of your device, the heavy devices. So in order to avoid that, we need to loop heart is a heart of any actuators. So these thermocouples identify the temperatures up to 150 degrees Celsius. Depends on the type of thermocouples, like a K type we have, M type we have, J type thermocouples we have. So depending upon your temperature needs, we can use these type of thermocouples. And apart from these temperature devices, we have other sensors also. So this is the another sensor module. You can see there's a very minute. It's maybe the length and width is around 2 centimeter, 2 into 2, 20 mm into 20 mm. That's the size. And this is a very high accuracy one sensor named SI7021 microcontroller module. And this is used to detect the environment temperature. And thermocouple, it's actually used for detecting the surface temperature. And environment temperature means your area. For example, if you're located in Chennai, means I want to know the temperature and humidity of like Anna Nagar or like in a Perungalathur, like that. So this is used for the environment temperature. And another type of sensor, it's actually is BMP 180. It's comes with the temperature module, pressure module, and barometric module, and also the altitude module. It's give three different values, like it will be give the temperature, surface temperature, the pressure, and also the altitude, how much we situated above from the sea level. It gives this value. These are the very minor devices we have to working is a very clearly with that and carefully also. And the voltage level and the supply level of these devices is very less than, like is less than 5 voltages. Even some of the models working on 3.3 voltages. We need to take care of the potentiometer circuits, voltage regulator, and divider circuits. So without maintaining the proper voltage, this device will break and will reflect a lot of money from your pocket. And another important device is in IoT consoles. When compared to the IoT consoles, using any home automation system, this is a module especially used for switching operation. So we know a lot of switches, like a mechanical switches in your home applications, like for turn on and off your fan or TV or any appliances. And this is the electrical switch, name as a relay. So relay is a device used for to handle the high voltage devices using the low voltage pulses. So one end you can see that this is the one end and this is the other end. And this is the other end where we can connect the high voltage devices like your fan, your pumps, submersible pumps, or your fan, your lights, like anything working on a single phase voltage we can use. And the specification is given here, and it depends upon the single phase or three phase. We have the different types of modules. So this is working on a 10 amps 120 VAC2 and it's 24 volt VDC. They can work on both the AC and DC voltage up to 120 volt single phase and 24 volt DC voltage it can operate. So you can connect these high voltage devices on this end, and this is the control voltage. Relay has a two circuit. One is a power circuit. This is a power circuit. This is a control circuit where we can give the signals from the microcontrollers and the PLC controllers here. So using the input signal, it can turn on and off my outputs. At the output end, there is a NC connection or NO connection. Normally, it will be an open or in a closed position. So this is a very important devices in industrial automation. If you take any control panels or any IoT solution, this is the basic devices. You can see these devices at all the control panels and application parts. Okay, I think mostly I covered a few things, and finally I just like to showcase this IoT module known as the ESP8266. Is the very high reliability IoT model used for long distance communication using HTML, CSS, and even JavaScript programming languages. We can control the devices at any part. For example, if I fix this module at a one car in US, I can able to connect this module through the internet, through a local server or a wide area network. We can just directly connect to this module. And after that, we can, if we connect in a proper way, we can able to control the devices which is already connected in this module. So this is a Wi-Fi module used for long distance communication, for the data monitoring, real-time time stamping applications, and also for the controlling process. So that's the few devices I just want to showcase to you. Okay, so till now, any doubts you can just share here. I just explain in a more in-depth way. If you have any doubts, so kindly ask here. So if you doesn't have, I just move to another parts what we try to explain to you. So these are the some industrial components and microcontroller components which is necessary for basic IoT solutions automation applications and also for the robotic arms. When compared to the humanoid robots, industrial robots is a more specific. It can able to do only one process, like whether it's a metal handling or palletizing or building application. But humanoid robots is a more intelligent robots. We integrate a lot of intelligent sensors like a vision camera system, face recognition system, a lot of neural networks embedded into the controllers. So that is about the important parts like a sensors, actuators, and apart from this, you must know about the power supply. Power supply is a simple one. Normally, we use a SMPS power supply for a industrial purpose robotics. Mostly operated at a single phase means we can use SMPS power supply working at a 24 voltage or like a 24 voltage is available, 48 voltage, 120 voltage DC is available. And apart from this, for a welding application, we need a separate power source in order to avoid the proper current. Higher voltage is needed for welding applications. And gripper is the main part in robotics application. Gripper is the two type we can use. One is the end effector is two types we can use. One is the gripper, is a mechanical fingers, is a 3 finger or 2 finger, 4 finger, even 5 fingers is also available to grasp the objects in a 3D space in order to manipulate. And tools or other devices used for specific operation for spraying, arc welding, and assemble operation, machine tenting, turning process like a CNC machine. You heard about that. So these are the basic devices of a robotic arm, especially the industrial robotics arm. So I just give another video of how our industrial process is. This is the one of the application where we can. Sorry for that. I just closed my screen. Sure. Okay. Okay. So this is the one of the industrial communication demonstration, like how to communicate with the PLC with the HMI devices. So from the screen, you can just see the different devices. So these are the switches. At the top, you can see that these are the switches. This is the MCB circuit breaker. And this is the drive system, normally known as the VFD drive, variable frequency drive, used for control the speed. What I like already we see a one drive L29 3D to control the speed of a normal 12 volt DC motor. So for single phase DC motor, we use this type of drives known as the VFD drive, variable frequency drive. By changing the frequency, we can able to change the speed of my motor. And this is the PLC, Schneider PLC. This is the drive. This is the Delta HMI. So we can directly control the speed of my drive through this HMI. HMI is actually a human machine interface, and because the controller entirely is complete of is a complete approach of programming, like a ladder logic, function block diagram, structuralist program. So we cannot able to see this program in a visual way. So that's actually this HMI is doing. We can easily integrate with the PLC for the most interference applications. So this is the Delta PLC. We can able to control like my drive when the drive should be on, and also the frequency. So just watch the video. You can see that this is one of our customer end. So this is the motor. So this is the RS485 cable where we establish a communication between HMI and also the DVFT drive. So this is the ladder logic programming inside the PLC. So after the specific, you can see that if I turn on, I control, if I want to monitor, all the things in the HMI, this changes according to the drive also. You can see that. Now this changes to 30, that is the frequency. 60 hertz is actually the maximum for the European based industries and also the country. In India, around 50 hertz is the maximum frequency. So we can able to change the frequency and controlling the motor speed. You can see that it's rotating on around 50 Hz frequency means you can just calculate how much RPM the rotor is rotating. You already know the one formula is a basic formula, Ns equal to 120 F by P. That is the main principle of this BFD. If you change the frequency, you can automatically change the stator speed, and accordingly the rotor speed will be varying. So now I start the motor. It takes some time to settle down to your original position. So can add a n number of pages in your HMI. It depends upon the application. This is our one of the projects, and I will show a few more projects of us from our company. So this is one of the projects we done for the same HMI concepts we use for controlling the speed, power factor, frequency of a heavy machinery. This is a one company from Coimbatore named our first project named a variable like this is the control system for vertical impact crusher. So this is the machinery. You can see that this is the machine where it crushed the stone, the rock from the mountains into a artificial sands around the 3 mm, 5 mm and 10 mm ranges, different ranges. That is the artificial sand named as a M sand and P sand. And for this heavy machinery, the life of this machine depends upon the bearing life. So bearing, you already aware of the working of bearing. It's used for support the motion, rotary motion, and also it will be used for like maintain like allow the motion to another part, and also for the supporting the motion. And so in order to maintain your machine life, you need to maintain the bearing life, because simple example, you can assume imagine like that. So if your fan creates some sort of sound, means automatically your bearing will failure. So the bearing is actually depends the mechanical, like bearing life is directly is proportional to the life of your machinery. So the bearing failure happens only due to the more friction, and more because the moving parts is fixed to your bearing. So we want to maintain the bearing life in a very precise form. So this is the projects where we implemented some of the components and achieve this solution. It's a very big project. We need to control the temperature. That is a top bearing. This machine contains two bearing, heavy bearings, top bearings and the bottom bearing. So we need to maintain this bearing temperature by a thermocouple, what I shown previously. And if it reaches a particular level, we need to stop the system, because this is the machine is used in near to the mountain. It's on a very hazardous environment. The operator cannot working nearly with this these type of machines. Look like it's a very small machine, but when you go near to the machine, it's triple times. So I am 1.7 in my height, so nearly 3 to 4 times this machinery is actually is the height of than me. And and during the operation, it's create a lot of vibration around the 10 meters or 20 meters. So we cannot able to sit near this machinery. And also the price of this machinery is around 50 lakhs to 1 crore. So the investors look on a different factors to maintain the life of machinery. So this is a very difficult projects, one of the difficult projects, but it happens very successfully. So using these HMI screens and PLC systems, we can able to control the drive speed. You can see that this is a motor. This is a 150 kilowatt motor. 150 kilowatt motor is a three-phase motor and is running at 1400 RPM. You cannot imagine this type of high-speed devices. And we need to control, and we need to stop at a particular level. So this is one of the projects where we use integrated automation technologies. And another projects, this is another screen of the same projects. in case any high temperature achieves reaches the threshold value, the temperature value reaches the threshold value means it will give some alerts to the user, and always it actually gives the lubrication to the bearings in case it reaches the higher value. And we set threshold values around 70 degrees Celsius because that's the maximum value the machine can go beyond. So this is another our vision system projects named as a sprocket inspection system using the machine vision process. So we need to calculate the lifetime of the sprocket in a two-wheeler. This is the Yamaha one model. This is actually happened before 5 years. So this is one of the fine projects, like one of the finest projects of our company for one of the manufacturers of these type of gears, this type of sprocket in Coimbatore, I think. The company name is also a very high-end company, LPG, I think. LPG. Okay. So using this machine vision system, we can able to detect the wear and tear of the teeth. So we use a lot of protocols and processing technique like thresholding, pixel counting. We add a few process to it to calculate the wear and tear by using this process. And you can see that this is the output screen where we can find the tear and how much the teeth is actually the teeth surface is actually reduced. When it reaches a 15%, you cannot use the sprocket in a two-wheeler. That's determine the life of your sprocket in your two-wheeler. So another few projects to the Chennai-based company this is the linear DRO, and they used to measure the a length of any cylindrical rods using a communication protocol. We just define our own communication protocol to send the data, like the length of the rod to the computer system using a specific software. We defined one protocol and also send the signal to the computer system. And this is on one of the projects to the Ford companies, Ford Motors in MM Nagar. And this is the oil eye prototype. We cannot able to showcase the entire product. That is the patent projects for DRDO, CVRD. You heard about the Indian military, CVRD. We developed this prototype for oil condition monitoring and lubrication system. It's a complete project. It takes up to 6 months to finish the prototype, which detects the oil level, oil leakage, oil temperature, pressure, quality, all the things in an Arjun tank. We can able to read all the value, and it's having a data storage system, and also it contains IoT devices to share all the information to the user in a more safer way. And this is another prototype and the project we successfully funded for the next process for the Chennai Fire and Safety Department to detect the septic tank, like a methane gas level in the septic tank. And also we currently doing on a next process. After detecting the toxic gas level, we need to pump all the gases, like a methane gases, and convert into a biomass, like a fuel. We are just working on that. We have a successful prototype and funded for 12 lakhs. So that's a few projects we currently doing for the industries and the research institutions. So our projects are mostly is a 50-50 for industrials and for the different research institutions like from IIITD, MGR research institutions, advanced research institutions of Chennai, even IIT Madras also we have a lot of tie-ups and collaboration with them. So these are some of the projects from our company to our customers. So that's my presentation is about the different structures, different components and use cases. So hope you catch the idea of different projects, because it needs a lot of in-depth knowledge to implement. You need to go to the industries and to the respective places to understand the problem, analyzing the solution in a more clear way. And these are the devices is working on a very high voltages, so we cannot do anything silly in that in this process. We take more time, we need a lot of supports, we need to spend a lot of time to complete the entire projects. That is our way of approaching to our customers. We are not at the company take a lot of projects from the customers. If we take a one projects, after completing a current projects only, we just move on to the next projects. So even when we have a lot of resources, we just focusing on a single projects. That's our approach till now. And because for the better output and the proper process, deliver the projects on a current time and the exact time what the customer needs, and finish the projects within a certain budget. That's also the requirements from the customer. So that is my explanation. And coming to the next part, very important part, I explained we have another wing named as the educational wing. So through our education wing, we support a lot of programs. We support the students and the faculties and industrial professionals through a lot of programs. So during this pandemic, we launched a one program named as 45 days. So I just want to explain. Yes. So this is a program we offer to the students, faculties, and for the professionals during this pandemic. And the 45 days intensive program is completely about the industrial automation, robotics, and IoT project development. You only know, like you only learn about how to develop a projects in respective areas from basics to end application. So what I present to you in the last 30 minutes, you are just going to learn in a more in-depth way, and how it actually is implemented in the industries, or what we need to learn, like what are the things we need to we need to know in apply in a real time. So this program is entirely focused on that parameters. 45 days intensive program comes with a 13 hours training also. And the main advantage of this program is a no time constraint to enroll, and also the no time constraint for learning, because we can register at any time. We calculate 45 days from your date of registration only. For example, if you join today or if you register tomorrow or a week later, means upon your registration only, we calculate your 45 days from your date of registration. And also that there is no time constraint for your learning, because this 45 days internship program comes with a 15 hours training, like a 13 to 15 hours training period also. For that training, 15 hours training, we provide 32 days for that. So you can just spend 20 minutes on each day, or you can skip the first 15 days, or you can just spend 2 days once, or weekly, weekends. So whenever you have a time, you can just go through the materials and learn and complete the training and internship work. So that's a biggest future we added in this program. So 3 things we focus on this program: real-time projects, what I explained. So for developing a particular projects, what are the components needed, how to make a circuit connections, what are the programming software we need to work on that, how we can write the programming codes like C++ and ladder logic programming. Is completely about the real-time project development concepts and training, and also it contains the software and hardware training, because the automation is not alone the hardware part, it's combined with the software programming also. So we'll be focusing on these tools, and these are the 2 key takeaways of the program. And apart from this, we also help you like how you do the real projects, like industrial projects, what are the things you need to know. So after getting, if your students means like after getting into the industries, in which way the industry approach the projects, how they arrive the methodology, the solution, how they frame the timeline, how they finish all the projects with the budget constraint. That's the thing also we explain to you during this intensive work. So in more depth, in the 45 days duration is split into 3 parts. First part is the 15 hours learning. For that, we provided 32 days, as I explained earlier, and it contains assessments and technical guidance sessions. Assessments is for your knowledge verifications. So I will explain the assessments in a bit later. And technical guidance session is completely the time constraint program, means we provide all the materials to you, can learn at any time. It's contained the video materials, technical guidance like technical documents, data sheets, and also the assignment forms to you. So you can just work it out on your own time. And technical guidance sessions is only for you is for clarifying your doubts and share your concerns if you have. If you have a semester exam after registration means, or any internal work, or if you are faculty means, if you go for your personal any vacations or anything, like we provide extension period also, so you can resume after your convenience dates also. So that is about the training part, and after completing this 15 hours training, we will put you on to the internship work. In the internship work, our customer projects, ongoing customer projects, and we already done a lot of projects. So we just directly give that projects to you, so you can work on that projects. It includes the basic things. So I will explain what are the things you are going to be do in the internship work. And finally, after this 45 days duration, you need to submit your solution to us in a presentation way. So in that presentation day, you need to present your solution in front of our technical sales team. Even customers will also join on the meeting. So we verify our basic solution and your communication skills and other parameters also. So this is the program structure of this 45 days program. Till now we completed, this is actually the past one. So till now we completed 10 batches. So this is the brochure of January. So till now we completed 10 batches. Now is the 11th batch registration is opening on, is open on, like and we also select the top performers. So I will explain what is the reason to select the top performers, so on what are the provisions we provide to the top performers. So nearly 89 to 90% of the participants are top performers, and 100% technical guidance for deep understanding is 100% project development training and internship only, not focusing other than like a certificates or any internship letters. Is completely focusing on how to develop industrial and real-time projects. So these are the institutions where our students, faculties, and some of the industries also, like from Daimler, we have a lot of people from Daimler. We have a lot of people from Coimbatore-based industries, MSME companies, and these are the some of the institutions where students and faculties joined and completed the program successfully. And we have a MOE colleges. We have sign up with our MOE colleges like SSN, PSG, and they joined us a 15 plus members for doing a robotics intern and IoT intern respectively. So 3 areas we are offering in this program. Robotics, it contains a 13.5 hours training, and after completing the 13.5 hours training, you can utilize the balance days. Like example, we provide 32 days for this 13.5 hours training. If you complete within a 10 days means you can spend the balance 35 days for your intern work. It's a completely online program. So that's what we provide in this pandemic period. And in this training period, you will learn about the development of 5-axis robot arm. For developing the 5-axis robot arm, what are the things you need to make your sensors, controllers, actuators, feedback devices, and how to make a circuit connections, how to program, what is the software, and if you want to learn a program means where I want to start from the base to achieve the application. So all the complete solution is actually teaches on the robotics. And IoT is a bit more a wide stream, it having a 14.5 hours training and the internship. 2 projects you are going to be learn. One is the ECG monitoring system and the home automation system. These are the 2 training projects. And industrial automation is the most wide stream. So that's what the training period is a bit more higher than the robotics and IoT. It contains 15.5 hours training materials and comes with the very specific projects named as a PLC, how to integrate the PLC with the field devices like counters, Modbus protocols, timers, comparators, and relays and other important functions. So these are the 3 areas we offered currently, and this program, as I said, that this program is completely for the people who completed the school education. That's the only eligibility. If you complete a school education, you can just directly you can able to join this program. And in more details, first part of this program is the 15 hours training period. So you know about the training hours: robotics 13.5, IoT 14, and industrial automation 15.5, like that. So for the training period, we provide a 32 days period, like a provision to you. So you can take a maximum of 32 days to complete all the training materials, and also you need to submit all the assignments. And what is the need of assignment means in an internship work, you are going to be do a real-time projects and industrial projects. So for that, you must have a minimum knowledge and not a very high knowledge. You need at least a minimum knowledge to do the projects. That's what we give the assignments to you. You need to score 40% above marks. If you not score above 40% marks, we just check in which area you are lagging. We will give a continuous guidance until you got over 40%. So that there is no worries for you to get out of the program or not getting the internship right like that. We will give a continuous guidance and support to you for reaching the 40% marks. And after the training period, we will straight away put you on the internship work. Normally the internship duration is 13 days, and if you complete as earlier, the training period means like average time taken by the participants in the last 10 batches is around 20 days, and they utilize the balance 25 days for the internship work. And even some students and faculties finish in the training within 7 days. They spend balance 35 days, like 38 days for the internship work. It's entirely is your option. So the internship work is mainly concentrate of these 5 things. Till now we have 42 projects in our hand. We directly give the projects, like one part of the projects to you. And these are the 5 things we focusing on the internship work. Like you also going to be work on these 5 factors is a common factors. What is the components you need to choose? What is the methodology? How your solution is to be like solve the problem statement? And what is your exact timeline to complete the entire projects? And we already give a budget for individual projects, so you need to choose all the materials within this range. And also we ask for the circuit connections. And after that 45 days internship, you need to submit the PPT, and we will fix a 1 day for your final presentation. And the presentation is comes with the 2 parts. First presentation is about checking your technical expertise knowledge, like how your solution and or your solution achieve the basics and the PAR score, whether you achieve the PAR score. And after that, we will fix another presentation for your communication skills and other few parameters for the best performance selection. So these are the some best presentation by the participants, like students and faculties, and even by the professionals. For different projects. And technical guidance meeting on a weekly basis, we provide these type of technical guidance meeting to the participants to clarify doubts on a one-on-one meeting or a group meetings. If you're joined with a group means, we will arrange for a group meeting, or we have a one-on-one meeting. In that meeting, you can share your doubts. So we will clarify your doubts and give the proper explanation. Otherwise, we also provide our instructor numbers. You can contact us at 24/7 to clarify all the doubts, and also you can share your concerns. If you have any personal concerns, you can just share here. We will give the right support. Till now, there is no rejection for your concerns, for the participant concerns. And top performer selection after your presentation, if you reach the PAR score, you will eligible to receive the internship letter. Apart from this, if your solution is too good means, we will select you as a top performer. And also we will select based on these skills also, your communication skills, how your presentation skill, what is your technical knowledge, learning eagerness, and situation adaptability. So these are the things also we verify from you. And after this selection, we will store your name into our database. And what is the reason for the top performance? We will support you in an unofficial way after the training also. We will provide all sort of placement support, internship support, implant training support until for your lifetime. We will provide these opportunities. Already we recommended 13 companies to our best performers. In last day also, we have a lot of job requirements from Microsoft, Hindustan Aeronautics, and Indusland from Coimbatore also. We share the information to the best performers in an unofficial way, because unofficial way means we are not a complete training and placement company. With an MSME based company means we just share the information to you directly through our database. So you can utilize, you can go to the interview, you can attend the internship, and you can go to the implant training, anything. So that is actually we doing for the top performers. And also during the implementation stage of your internship projects, we will invite you directly with us for the collaboration to do the projects. Now we are planning how to utilize the best performers and on a different projects adaptability, and how to allot different parts of the work to the best performers. So that's the two things we provide to the best performers. And for the acknowledgement, we provide additionally, so these are some top performers from the different institutions, students list. So 90.90 exactly means 90.90% are the top performers or in the top performers section. And these are some of the participant feedbacks. I just skip this because of less time. We have a YouTube channel. If you want to know more about these feedbacks and how they manage the time, how the participants manage the time, what are their plannings, post planning after this training, you can just directly go to our YouTube page. Roboram is our YouTube channel name. You can just directly go to that and check our courses and other things. And definitely you will learn about these things. Participant must know which components to be choose for a specific automation problem statement, and also you will learn any in-depth of a sensors, controllers, power supply, actuators, feedback devices, all the things you will learn in a very in-depth way, and how to approach the problem with a proper methodology, how to frame the timeline, budget calculation, how to do the circuit connections, software simulations, programming, and especially the programming like C++ we use in IoT and robotics, ladder logic programming in industrial automation, and how to do the technical presentation also. In an industrial presentation is completely differ from the normal academic presentation, and how to make a good communications and respond, like making a good maintaining a good relationship with your colleagues in the industry. That's things that's the things are you are going to be learned. That's a definite outcome of this program. And these are the two things we provide for the apart from the best performers and their support, unofficial support, projects implementation support. So these are the two certifications we provide to the participants. If you score the PAR score, you will eligible to receive this internship letter. And if you are come as a top performance, additionally you provide this top performer completion certification. So these are the two certifications you are going to receive at the end of your internship work, along with your unofficial support and also the project implementation supports. And initially we fixes this training fees of 4,950 because based on these futures, this is a very high-end program. This is a complete technical program.